And buckle up, a Fox News alert. President Trump praising his team after the arrest of a top leader of MS-13.
Yeah, look at this. Man, is this live?
It was yesterday.
Oh, that's right. Okay. We have exclusive coverage of the operation. Our cameras were rolling as AG Pam Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel joined agents in the early morning takedown.
And David Spunt is live in Virginia, Manassas, Virginia, with all the details. Hi, David.
You were there.
Good morning to you. I was very early morning. This happened around 6 o'clock in the morning in Woodbridge, Virginia. A 24-year-old top MS-13 leader, actually the top leader on the East Coast, was taken down into custody by the FBI. This was a DOJ FBI operation together along with Virginia State Police, ICE, and other different agencies. We have some video of this operation going down. The FBI director and attorney general watched this on a monitor from off-site, but they were watching in real time in cameras that were planted in the area to see this person get taken down. As far as the name is concerned, we're not able to release the name right now until this person has their first appearance, but we're told this person is a 24-year-old male from El Salvador living here in a residential apartment complex in Woodbridge, Virginia. Got a knock on the door from SWAT teams early this morning, a little bit before 6 o'clock in the morning. He is now in custody. Here's some sound from our exclusive interview with the FBI director and attorney general.
First reaction is all of our law enforcement officers are safe. That was the number one thing. They're safe. They executed a clean, safe operation, and the bad guys in custody. And thanks to the FBI, we got one of the worst of MS-13 off the streets this morning.
We were able to be out here in force to show the American people, to be here in person, that this means a lot to her and the mission. Safety is our primary concern of these communities, and we effectuated that today.
Separately, he's one of the top 3 leaders in the country. Again, remarkable as he's just 24 years old. There's a press conference that begins with the FBI Director Kash Patel, Attorney General Pam Bondi, and Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin coming up in just a few moments. We're told there's a heavy coordination between Virginia and the FBI and Department of Justice on this. Guys, back to you.
So Dave, real quick, David. So typically when they do those raids, they have the principal target, and then there's other people that are along with the person. Was he the only person arrested, or were there other co-conspirators there at the time that they grabbed up as well?
Well, this was a residential neighborhood, Lawrence, and we're told there were other people in the house. We're told that there were children. There were other people in the house. They were just detained periodically for the time temporarily. He was the only target they were going after, and they have him in custody now.
David, how unique is it for the DOJ and the FBI director to be on location for something like this?
It is unique. It's something we haven't seen often. Typically, these go down all the time. People in uniform do these every single day. Right. The FBI director and attorney general said they wanted to get out there, be out there in person to see this and make sure they can thank these people in person and see what these operations are like in person, guys.
Can you tell me about him, David? What do we know about him? Leader, 24 years old, MS-13. Is there anything else you could tell us?
Well, right now we just know that he's the top leader on the East Coast of the United States. We know that he was not so much of a person that was dealing drugs or those kinds of things himself. We know more that he was kind of a ringleader, an operations leader, someone that was recruited by MS-13 several years ago. We're waiting for the actual criminal complaint. Hopefully going to find out some of those details here. But even some of the agents that were on the scene were remarking just his age, the fact that he is 24 years old and he's considered the top MS-13 person on the entire East Coast of the United States.
Unbelievable. And David, so you were there at like a staging area, a safe distance away from the apartment complex where this guy was, because apparently, it wasn't a bunch of guys in windbreakers going in. Everybody was armored up. They came in armored vehicles. There were SWAT teams. It's because they were expecting there could be trouble, right?
Oh, absolutely. They expected a fight. There were weapons in the house, we were told. We saw multiple different SWAT vehicles. I mean, it almost looked like something you would see at an Army base. I mean, there was a heavy heavy presence for this, and the FBI director, Attorney General, myself, and others, really other top DOJ leadership, the Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche and Emil Bove, the Principal Associate Deputy Attorney General, also on scene watching from a distance, but they could watch it live on monitors and see. And the technology, we weren't allowed to show it on camera because of the nature of law enforcement, but it was incredible to see. I mean, very, very clear pictures and high-tech stuff. And they've been, surveilling
David,
this person for a while.
You were talking about how law enforcement, they do this every single day, raids every single day, which is true. But it is unusual to get someone this high up on the list, on the food chain. I mean, you got intelligence gathered. This is a massive operation.
It is a big one, and they've been looking after this person for a while. It's not clear how many times they previously wanted to do this operation, but it happened to work out today. But we know that there was surveillance on this individual for a while. And again, just the neighborhood that this person lived in was a run-of-the-mill residential neighborhood, people with Easter decorations outside. It was an apartment complex, very nice neighborhood. And, they go in with these big tanks and SWAT teams this morning and get this guy out of there.
And I'm sure those residents are thinking, what the heck is going on here? And now everybody knows. There was a raid in Virginia, David, that took place between March 1st and March 13th, and 214 illegal immigrants were apprehended, took place in Virginia. So I'm wondering if somebody that was arrested between that time period talked and told the FBI about this guy, where he is in his location. When you were on the ground and talking to people that were involved in this arrest, did anybody say anything about that?
No, they didn't. They didn't bring that specifically up, but you're right. That did happen recently. In Virginia, there's been a task force that the FBI has set up here in Virginia. So that's something new, and we expect the FBI director, to talk about that along with the AG, the Attorney General, we call her the AG, today here at this news conference. But yes, there definitely has been a heightened increased work here in Virginia on this.
And David, while you were talking and reporting, the president posted on Truth Social truth. He wrote, "Just captured a major leader of MS-13. Tom Homan is a superstar." Caroline Levitt, who's going to be with us very shortly, just tweeted out, "Top MS leader arrested in Virginia. This is what happens when you have competent federal leadership working with state and local law enforcement on the ground. Bravo, AG Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, Governor Glenn Youngkin, and Tom Homan." So there's a list of people. Real quickly, I know the press conference is supposed to happen in about 5 or 6 minutes. Do we know who's going to be there?
Yeah, we know it's going to be the FBI Director, Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, and Governor Glenn Youngkin. That's all we're aware of now. Obviously, some other officials with the local field offices at the FBI and whatnot will be there. But they're definitely happier that they have this person in custody now. And again, it's a little strange that I can't say this person's name, but we've been told we can't say this person's name as per the way things work in the court system. They need to wait for an initial appearance, but we know it's a 24-year-old man from El Salvador, the top leader of MS-13 on the East Coast, and one of 3 top leaders in the entire country.
Make some room on the top bunk. We got somebody else coming. Thanks so much.
David.
Thanks, David.
What an incredible win for the administration here. And the only one that is standing in the way are the Democrats that want to continue to have sanctuary cities and the media that chooses to report on one-offs. It is because of the maximum pressure of this administration, whether you're talking about the border with the military there, border patrol there, record hirings now, operational control almost at the border, and then you have Tom Homan with ICE as well as these joint task force going door to door to people that are criminals in this country. All of that makes for a great operation like this because people start talking.
And great optics to have the AG and the FBI director there.
Right. Well, Democrats could be in the photo, but they choose to be against this.
Joining us now to discuss all of this for the first time on The Angle, the Attorney General, Pam Bondi. General Bondi, it's so good to see you. How did you find this guy, and how long has he been in the United States?
He has been in the United States for probably over a decade, but we believe he was recruited in middle school. In middle school, can you believe that? In middle school, but he's been living here illegally with friends and family, and the Biden administration did absolutely nothing to deport these people. You know, as the president says, we didn't need new laws. We needed a new president to fix this. And today, with Governor Glenn Youngkin and a task force, we started it February 25th. And in less than a month, they have captured so many of these MS-13 gang members. Laura, their techniques and what they were doing with state, local, federal partnerships hasn't been done.
People are watching this tonight and they're saying, how on earth could this have happened? Not only this, which was significant, obviously 24 years of age, very young and very vicious. But then you have these people in Massachusetts that ICE has rounded up, these child predators and rapists who, you know, excuse me, Mayor of Boston and the governor of Massachusetts, say, oh, no, we're tough on criminals. These people are just walking about the streets free as a bird until you guys actually got them.
They are.
It's insane.
They are. So this task force is DEA, FBI, U.S. Marshals working with ICE, all working hand in hand, sharing data. And that's how we were able to catch this guy. One of the agents said, if you want to rock MS-13 to its core, arrest him.
Wow.
That shows how bad he was. He was one of the top leaders, and he was living half an hour from where we're sitting right now, living among us.
How did he get that high up in the organization if he's only 24 years of age? You know?
He's been in it for a decade. A decade, this guy has been in MS-13.
Think he's murdered anyone?
I think he's probably been involved in murders. More to come on that. They found letters. They found writings that show he was one of the top leaders for the whole country, showing MS-13 cliques, which mean gangs, spread throughout this nation. Again, we took one of the worst off the streets today. Americans are safer because of Donald Trump.
When can we expect federal charges, and will you try to deport him to the Supermax prison back in his home country of El Salvador?
Yes, we will try to deport him to El Salvador. Let's send him home. That's where he belongs. You know, he belongs back in that El Salvador prison, and that's where he should go. But you're gonna see a lot more charges on him. He had illegal firearms, of course, 4 to 5 guns. He was living in a middle-class neighborhood.
Did he go to school in that area?
He did when he was younger. He went to school there, which is where he was recruited. And you know what? These schools have been trying to protect kids from law enforcement. And
explain that, and that's still happening in the United States. That log jam has to be broken because they're acting in some cases, not all, but in some cases, with the help of some religious leaders as sanctuaries from you and the FBI and the DHS.
That's right. Kids are being recruited in middle school. They're 13 years old, 14 years old. Yet these schools will not let law enforcement officers in there to educate kids about this, how horrible gangs are. No longer will that happen. Governor Youngkin and I are going to work together on that, and we are going to get into these schools. No longer will these schools be keeping law enforcement from children trying to help them.
There was this other MS-13 character, Cesar Humberto Lopez Larios, many names. He was arrested on terrorism charges last year, but then CNN is reporting that, I guess it was dropped days ago, that he was back to El Salvador, sent back to the Supermax prison. But is it a mistake to have sent him there? I think there are a couple instances where maybe they weren't supposed to be sent there.
We have the people who have been deported, who are being housed in El Salvador, should be there. 261 people total went on that plane, and that's 261 reasons why Americans are safer tonight.
What are you going to do about these nationwide injunctions, and what is your message tonight to Congress, specifically members of the U.S. Senate and House, but who, Republicans and Democrats, who like to leave town on Thursday night, tonight? And they leave, and they're going to be gone for 2 weeks in April, when you still have a lot of key people not in top positions. What is your message to them tonight?
We need these people, of course.
Should they be taking a recess for 2 weeks?
Of course not. Laura, we need to get all of it. Donald Trump needs all of his nominees to be confirmed, to be in office for public safety reasons, for all of the reasons we've been talking about. There are so many nominees that we have to get confirmed. We have a lot coming up, and we've got to get them in office to help keep America safe.
I think Thune's trying to do his best, but they have to have unanimous consent from the Democrats in order to fast track these. And because Schumer's under attack from the left, he's like, I'm not giving you a thumbs up on any of these people. So it's having to go through this laborious process. But if you keep people through the weekends, let's say you know this town, you keep people through a couple weekends, what does that do to them?
Yeah, they cave.
They break.
The Democrats will break, and Republicans are tougher. We know that, and Senator Thune's been great. I mean, he's been fabulous. But we've got to keep people here. We've got to get people in office.
What's happening with this Las Vegas Tesla criminal who he was arrested? And now federal charges have been filed against him. This was something that was needed, given everything we're seeing happening to those dealerships and those cars across the country.
That was remarkable police work, working with the state police, our FBI. They have been going nonstop on this case. This guy is in custody. Laura, he is facing 5-year minimum mandatory to 20 years in prison. And this was great police work. This guy thought he got away with it. So these people better look out. They better cut it out, because we are coming after you. And at my direction, there will be no negotiating on these people.
No plea deals.
We are seeking 20 years in prison. They are setting off bombs, the huge fires. Look what you're seeing, huge, massive fires in residential neighborhoods.
Someone's going to get killed.
Charging stations. Someone is going to get killed. A citizen is going to get killed. And these people, we are not doing any plea negotiations on them. So they better cut it out.
We have some information about the groups that he belonged to, this individual. Let's watch.
But a preliminary assessment of the suspect's social media activity indicates some very loose but self-proclaimed ties to the Communist Party USA social media group, as well as social media groups called Revolutionary Communist International, Hidden Palestine, Palestine Action, and a variety of other social media groups.
I mean, this is like a cliche of every left-wing communist, socialist, Hamas.
Right. We are looking at, in all of these cases, every aspect, we are not going to leave a stone unturned.
So the messages are going out,
these people,
Madam Attorney General, from these groups. Get busy. Get busy, meaning terrorize people. People are terrorized driving down the road in a car that they worked hard for. They feel terrorized.
They do, and we're looking at how these people learned to make these bombs. We're looking at every aspect of these cases, and we are coming after you, and we will find you if you have done this to a Tesla owner, a Tesla dealership, anything to do with Tesla. We're going to find you. And that today was proof of it.
Judge Beryl Howell is an Obama-appointed district judge, I believe in the District of D.C., District of Columbia, and is extremely upset at what he thinks is a series of attacks by the DOJ on the judiciary, saying when the DOJ engages in this rhetorical strategy of ad hominem attack, the stakes become much larger than only the reputation of the targeted federal judge. This strategy is designed to impugn the integrity of the federal judicial system. I guess the DOJ lawyers wanted to remove Judge Howell from the case, citing other what they believed were biased comments. Your reaction to Judge Howell tonight?
We do. Many judges need to be removed. Judge Howell included, Judge Reyes, Judge Boasberg. These judges obviously cannot be impartial. They cannot be objective. They are district judges trying to control our entire country, and they're trying to obstruct Donald Trump's agenda.
And Judge Boasberg is a busy judge. He was assigned to the Signal Gate, which is such a ridiculous name, but the Signal Chat case, which is a lawsuit filed by parties, which I'm not sure they have standing to file, but President Trump calls it disgraceful that this judge, again, who's ruled against you on the Tren de Aragua deportations, is now assigned to the Signal case.
Yes.
Your reaction tonight to that?
Laura, he has multiple cases. I guess it's a wild coincidence against Donald Trump and our administration, and now he has the Signal case. He shouldn't be on any of these cases. He cannot be objective. He's made that crystal clear. You know, these judges are taking personal attacks, too, at many of the cabinet secretaries and these judges across the country. And again, they think they have authority, but it's going to be short-lived because these cases are going to get to the Supreme Court very fast. We're doing everything we can.
CNN is their Ellie Honig, because sometimes it's fair, but mostly biased. So you guys have to open up a Signalgate investigation at DOJ. Watch this.
So Pam Bondi has been MIA. There is no indication that she's going to open an investigation here. And by the way, when she was up for a confirmation as AG, you remember, one of the concerns is, would she be able to exercise independence? She told the Senate, absolutely, I will be completely independent. There's no reasonable prosecutor who could look at this and say it doesn't even need to be investigated.
your response to your pal there.
Yeah, there's a reason why their ratings are plummeting, because they're putting people like that on TV. Chatter. We could care less what they say. We're going to continue forward on all of these cases.
So this is not a concern of yours, Inspector General, idea of Inspector General investigation or congressional investigation down the road. You are completely confident that this was a mistake and nothing more than that.
We are, and all of our intelligence officials who were on it are confident of that as well.
Do you not know how many Democrats that I know over the years who have been on Signal? Of the highest level Democrats, and is that changing in the government now, though? Is Signal not going to be used, or is it going to be used going forward? Are you aware of it?
I think Signal's a very safe way to communicate. I don't think foreign adversaries are able to hack Signal, as far as I know.
And maybe people just have to keep an eye on their contact list a little bit more carefully going forward. Attorney General Pam Bondi, you were up at what time did you get up this morning?
Got up at about 4.
Oh, 4.
About 4.
Okay.
4.
All right. Well, you don't look any worse for the wear. Thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate it very much.
From El Salvador, and he will not be living in our country much longer.
How's this for a bad hombre? The feds nabbing a suspected top 3 leader of the brutal MS-13 gang. Agents busting into his home in Virginia, where they found 3 firearms, ammo, 2 suppressors. Authorities say he's from El Salvador and in America illegally. Hey, Harold. Turns out all we needed was a new president to catch these bad guys in your face.
I just want to emphasize the pace and the focus. And so, no, these were not lists that were available in the previous administration, because they wouldn't do that. I cannot emphasize enough the collaboration and support and leadership out of the new administration that is so different than what we saw in at least the previous 3 years of my administration.
And south of the border, DHS Secretary Noem did a house call to check on Venezuelan gang members Trump kicked out of the country. Christie coming face to face with the criminals and warning illegals out there this could be their new home soon.
I want to thank El Salvador and their president for their partnership with the United States of America to bring our terrorists here and to incarcerate them and have consequences for the violence that they have perpetuated in our communities. I also want everybody to know, if you come to our country illegally, this is one of the consequences you could face. First of all, do not come to our country illegally. You will be removed, and
Inmates are like, please come back. You're welcome here anytime. Jesse, you know what I love about that visit? She stood in front of criminals in their environment. Because usually Democrats, when they want you to see criminals, they're in court. Freshly bought shirt, clip-on tie, makeup over their teardrop tattoos, more as the remorseful suspect rather than in their own, soup of crime.
So this is a PR game for the people illegals here. So if you're an illegal and you're a criminal, that's where they're going to send you.
Exactly.
So she's basically saying, you want your head shaved, you want handcuffs, you want to sit a jail cell with 90 bad hombres, self-deport.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right. I'm shocked there wasn't a prison break.
Yeah.
Because that's like a riot right there. I'm surprised if they could walk Tom Homan through that jail and you'd think he's hot at that point. But Christie, my God. So, Greg, we already had so many gangs here. We had Crips, you had Bloods, and then you have the Mafia, you have the Chinese guys and the Russians in Brooklyn. It's like we had enough already.
Yeah.
And at the height of the crime wave, 2021, 2022, Biden decides to let in 25,000 MS-13 guys. And imagine you're at the Border Patrol and you see a guy with face tattoos. And you catch and release him. And not only that, you give a guy with face tattoos a bus ticket to Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
And then if he gets arrested in Manhattan, they don't even deport him.
Yeah.
They let him back out on the street. We always tried to impeach Joe for Hunter. They should have impeached him for the border.
Yeah.
Because that's really an impeachable offense. And they had all these FBI guys running around going after these Jan 6ers. Why? You should have been going after these guys. And what a waste of time, because Trump pardoned them all. So it's great to see these guys going after real crime, and that's what we need to get back to.
Judge, in a rare show of intelligence, Jesse makes a good point. Don't you love how Democrats only care about vetting criminals when they're leaving?
Yeah, on their way out.
Not when they're coming in.
Right, on their way out. You're absolutely right. In fact, I had an appointment today somewhere, and it doesn't matter where, but the person started crying. She was so worried that we were deporting people who maybe shouldn't be deported. And I said, you know, if they have these tattoos that indicate they're Tren de Aragua, shouldn't they be deported? Well, maybe they didn't mean it, you know, and that's what we're dealing with. But look, here's the good news, Greg. I mean, one of the top 3 MS-13 gang leaders, okay, he's in this country for a while. He's living with his mother for at least 6, 8 months that we're aware of, but silencers, long guns, ammunition, the whole thing. So now the question is, what's going to happen to him? Is he going to be prosecuted? Is he going to be released by some judge who thinks that, you know, we can't hold this guy, or is he going to be deported? And Kristi Noem, to her credit, that messaging was excellent. You're going to come here, boys, and this is what's going to happen to you. And I think the issue now, given especially what's happened with Boasberg and the Circuit Court of Appeals, where they said that, you know, we're going to keep we're not going to hold the temporary restraining order. Now this has to go to the Supreme Court to see if the White House can deport these people under the Aliens Enemies Act. So we're kind of in a holding pattern right now, but the message is clear.
You know, most viewers aren't aware, Harold, that you were once in a gang. And we've actually have makeup applied over your teardrop tattoos. So you're a little biased here. But how soon before your Dem allies demand we respect the right to due process for this character?
It's good to be back around the table and good to know you have not lost your sense of humor or fastball. I couldn't agree more with what's already been said. If President Biden and his team had focused more on the border, Jesse, I think you're right. Not only would it have been redounded to their benefit politically, as the judges noted, it would have been a good thing for the country. I hope they prosecute these guys. I hope they convict these guys, and I hope they send them to that jail. Because I think we need to have in our records here that these guys are that, whether they try to come back into the country or not. And I salute the president and salute this prosecutorial team and Ms. Bondi and what they've been able to accomplish here. Now, as it relates to some of the other things we're conflating here with sending these gang members back to Venezuela, I support that too. We should follow the law and do it. As I said before, sentimentally, the country is with President Trump, though. If we don't follow every bit of it, you're right. People are going to want these guys out. And the problem is if you round up 50 of them and 3 of them are Americans and didn't do anything, if that's your cousin or your brother, your sister or someone, I think people may have an issue with it. But all that being said, I salute what Ms. Bondi and her team has done in capturing and arresting this MS-13 leader. And God bless them going to get the rest of them.
Dana, you know, it's interesting because it's easy for us to target Democrats for what they haven't done because it's legit. Even Harold admits, but they will target Republicans for how they've done it.
Right.
Because the aim is unquestionably correct.
Well, I also think, though, that we don't talk enough about what they did and the effects of it. So you have Governor Youngkin who said, I can't tell you the difference that it's made. He said he had been trying to get after this guy for 3 years. The Biden administration was unresponsive. Here we have within the first 3 months, the top guy is nabbed. And why does that matter? I don't think we've also done enough to explain that once all of these illegals got into the country, they spread out everywhere. That's what gangs do, take over territory. And the violence that they commit is terrible. But one thing that's really interesting, a lot of it is aimed towards women. And then you had the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, and the Homeland Security Secretary, Kristi Noem, basically saying in your face, MS-13, and that we're the ones that are going to be in power now, and we're going to do something about it. You're not going to be able to get away with it from before. The other thing is the communications on this, again, continues to me to be excellent, and it's one of the reasons that the country continues to be with President Trump, because they are showing their work. And you can see it visibly. And they got up at 3 o'clock in the morning to be there when this went down this morning. Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, Tom Homan, and then you have Kristi Youngkin traveling, and you have somebody going to remember the visuals that you had to use for Kamala Harris was her interview with Lester Holt arguing about whether she had been to the border. And that was it. The other time, she did one interview, like a statement saying, don't come to America, with basically a steel wall behind her. My last point is I have a feeling that the countries of the UK, France, Spain, Italy that are just inundated with so many migrants. And you think they sleep in France and then try to sneak over to the UK when they can because the benefits are so generous. It won't be long, I don't think, until some of these countries who have a populist streak now running through them will say, we want to do the same type of thing.
Just need one person to break the seal.
Is our gang called the Five?
Yes, exactly.
5 teardrops.
Yeah, and you know what? The initiation ritual is after this show, Harold.
Can't wait.
Get him!
Get him!
It's good to have you back, Harold.
Wow, what did I miss?
Terrible. Up next, Elon and the Doge dudes hit back at deranged Democrats.
Brand new details about the accused MS-13 gang leader who was arrested in Virginia in the early morning hours today. Fox News getting a firsthand look now at this operation. You see Attorney General Pam Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel on the scene there. Agents say that they found weapons, ammo, silencers, all piled up in the garage bedroom when they arrested 24-year-old, and we now can tell you his name, Henry Yasu Viatro Santos. They say he's from El Salvador, and he has been in the United States illegally. The MS-13 leader of the East Coast operations is the way that the DOJ is describing him right now, and a top 3 member in the United States. And as I said, he was arrested in Woodbridge, Virginia, just outside of Washington, D.C. Virginia Attorney General Jason Miyares is going to join us in moments. He was there this morning, and so was our justice correspondent, David Spunt, reporting live on all of this from Washington. This is quite a story, David. What have you learned today?
Martha, it was quite extraordinary to see it play out. A 24-year-old alleged MS-13 leader, in fact, the leader of East Coast operations, is what DOJ is alleging. This man, Henry Josue Villatoro Santos, just made an initial appearance in court. Now, this arrest happened before the sun came up. We were there exclusively to watch it unfold, joining Attorney General Pam Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel as they received an early morning briefing, and I do mean early, with SWAT teams before those SWAT teams in to make the arrest. Bondi, Patel, myself, and others watched this all happen on monitors. We can't show what it looked like, but we did see the scene from multiple different angles, from the ground and the air.
This is what can happen when you put good cops in good places to take on bad guys. And America should be watching this. And we are proud to be here standing with these brave warriors.
Joining the FBI was the ATF, Virginia State Police, ICE, and the Prince William County Local Police Department. Now, they do this kind of thing multiple times a week, Martha, but this guy happens to be one of the top 3 leaders in the country, according to the DOJ. The reason they had a SWAT team in military-looking vehicles, they expected him to be fully armed. Luckily, though, no one was harmed.
All of our law enforcement officers are safe. That was the number one thing. They're safe. They executed a clean, safe operation, and the bad guys in custody. And thanks to the FBI, we got one of the worst of MS-13 off the streets this morning.
And we have some photos from the court documents that were just filed. One, as you showed at the top, shows guns. The other, gun suppressors, as I mean on the right there, also known as silencers. Right now, Villatoro Santos is being charged with being an illegal alien in possession of a firearm, but sources say they expect more charges down the road. We see this from time to time, Martha. It's what's known as a holding charge before other charges can come down the pike. And as you'll talk to the Attorney General in Virginia right there, this is all part of a new effort by the FBI and the Commonwealth of Virginia working together on these types of cases.
Okay, real quick before I let you go, what was it like when you watched this live?
It was pretty unbelievable to see just how clear some of those cameras were. You could see multiple different angles of an operation going on live. This was in a residential neighborhood. We're told that there were children in the home. Luckily, they were okay. They got out. They made it out to safety. But a 24-year-old living in suburban Virginia and got a knock on the door, many knocks on the door, and came out shortly after 6 a.m. this morning.
David, thank you. Fascinating.
Thank you.
Sounds like a big gap. Thank you very much. Let's bring in the Virginia Attorney General, Jason Miyares. Attorney General, great to have you with us today. And obviously, the people of Virginia are a little bit safer today, and the East Coast. If what we're learning about this individual, that he was overseeing MS-13 operations for the East Coast, turns out to be the case. What does that look like? What have you learned about this operation? How do you know he was in charge of it?
Well, one thing that we have seen, this is a great example of making sure that no one is siloed. We see that sometimes in law enforcement between state, local, and federal. And I know that when we came into office, Governor Youngkin and I really were big on cooperating with our state and local, making sure they were working together. What is great about what General Bondi and Director Patel have done is making sure that state and local now have federal resources, the intel analyst and the intelligence. Their resources are candidly impressive, and they have come in and really turbocharged a lot of the work we have done going after these transnational gangs. MS-13 is obviously one of the most notorious between drug dealing, extortion, human trafficking. They're some of the worst of the worst. This individual got on a variety of individuals' radars really in the last year, kept coming up. And so this is a great example of using that intelligence and our analysts to both track him down, work together. I cannot commend enough the professionalism of what we have seen by our federal partners, our partners of the FBI, DEA, HSI, really working to track this person down. It has been just night and day what we have seen before from Main Justice versus what we see now, really putting the priority of going after these transnational gangs and getting them out of our communities. And Dale City in Northern Virginia is a great community. This person was there living among us.
I just have a minute left, but were you aware of him? Was he being watched? And were the neighbors aware in any way that this guy was the East Coast leader of MS-13, 24 years old, living in their neighborhood?
Listen, I'm not going to get too much on that because I think you'll probably see that in future indictments. What I can say is a lot of these individuals go by nicknames. You have to now identify who he is, where they live, track them down, and then most importantly, surveillance it and determine a good time to actually serve and arrest these individuals so there's minimal possibility of harm to our agents. The federal partners did fantastic work on taking down one of the top individuals that really has caused so much harm in our community, and we're very glad he is now arrested and facing federal charges.
Well, it's fascinating to see this operation. I hope that he's able to lead to the other two leaders of MS-13 in the other two regions of the country. We look forward to hearing more about this indictment and learning more about what you have on this case. Attorney General Miyares, thank you very much. Good to see you, sir.
Thank you.
Mike Pompeo, the former Secretary of State and a Fox News contributor. I wanted to, Mr. Secretary, first of all, welcome you to the show again. Thanks for being with us. Start off this segment by looking at where we are now with illegal border crossings compared to where we were February of last year. February of last year, 189,913 people came across the border illegally. February 2025, 11,709. That's a reduction of 94%. And President Trump does not have one more tool in his toolbox than Joe Biden did a year ago. So how did this happen?
Well, John, thanks for having me on. We know exactly how this happened. He made it a promise during the campaign, and then he built a team to go do it, and they are now executing against this vigorously. Look, just President Trump's presence makes clear to those who are thinking about coming here illegally, recognize that the costs will exceed the benefits, and then the hard work that's been done by Tom and his team, Tom Homan and his team, and others to get those who are already here, who came during the Biden administration or some of them before that, are now being identified, prosecuted, and moved back to the country where they need to go. These are the indicia. That math is really amazing, and these are the indicia of a real focused effort making a lie of the thing that President Biden said, which was, I need more laws to fix this. It was just about intention and will and capability, and the Trump administration has demonstrated it has each of those three, and you can see the great results. We're all safer today because of this, John.
You know what I think is funny, Mr. Secretary, is that the Biden administration tried to tell people not to come, but we didn't see anything like this from Kamala Harris when she went to the Northern Triangle countries, or from Alejandro Mayorkas. I mean, I would just want to play again DHS Secretary Noem's video because it really is something.
If you come to our country illegally, this is one of the consequences you could face. First of all, do not come to our country illegally. You will be removed and you will be prosecuted. But know that this facility is one of the tools in our toolkit that we will use if you commit crimes against the American people.
Talk to me about just how you get to develop an effective message like that. I mean, you guys make it look easy, Republicans, compared to what the Biden administration was doing.
Jackie, it's very easy. Who would have believed President Biden or Vice President Harris when they said they didn't want them to come here after they had already allowed millions and millions of people to come in? So their credibility was shot. And so this begins with the credibility of President Trump. And then second, you make clear that the costs will be real through not just words and messaging, but real actions. And for now, the first months of the Trump administration, those actions have been incredibly public and effective and made clear. And so folks who are here telling family members not to come, folks who are here now recognize they may be the next to be deported. And so you can begin to see this tide turning in a way that is serious and important and will make us all safer. Where the Biden administration could never do that. They could run as many commercials as they want. You could trot out Secretary Buttigieg or Secretary Mayorkas. Who was going to believe them, Jackie? The answer was no one. And the migration problem that John showed the statistics on was incredibly real. And the number of terrorists that came in, the number of criminals that came in, made it really dangerous here in the United States. And it's a blessing to see this tide turning.
So I don't know if you've commented on this, Mr. Secretary, but what do you make of these federal district judges inserting themselves in the deportation of people under the Alien Enemies Act, people who President Trump claims were sent here in part under the auspices of the Maduro regime to create chaos in this country?
Two things, John. First, these judges are stepping into the maximal point of presidential power. He is the chief executive, has a responsibility on national security. This is directly in his lane, and no Article III judge has any right to interfere in that in any material way. Second, the fact that these district court judges are doing this on a nationwide basis is just comical to me and indecent and certainly not constitutional. I think it was Justice Sotomayor who in a conference said that one day as well. So they shouldn't be interfering in national security, nor should they be doing it from one little district trying to do it all across the country. I think the Supreme Court will fix this, and I hope they'll do it quickly.
It was actually Justice Kagan who said it, but she did say it in a very forceful way. So, I mean, the sentiment is there, no doubt. Mr. Secretary, thanks for joining us.
Justice Kagan it is.
Yep, appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Have a good day.
All right.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.